Uh, Ready to go? Awesome. Hello. Can you guys hear us? Can you guys hear us? Can you guys hear us? I'm just trying to get some energy in this room here. Thank you very much. We got it the first time. Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to, by now, the third European AI Summit. This is the first time that we are doing it physically in combination with a digital demo day. So thank you very much for the invitation. And this is going to be a very unique, different setup. You will hear from roughly 17 people in 90 minutes, and everybody has exactly 3 to 4 minutes to give their opinion with their own different viewpoint about artificial intelligence with a mindset of transatlantic and startup and government and industry experts and research. There will be other events. They're going more into the details in the few months, but this is just a teaser of what we believe should be very valuable for all of you to learn and listen to. With that, I would like to start to introduce my co-moderator and very good friend, Regina. And I want to be very accurate right now. So Regina is an executive leader in marketing strategy, transformation, and innovation. Since her software career, she's passionate about diversity at any means and truly knows about business success. She's a serial founder. She founded over 10 years ago the First Row and the Woman Speaker Foundation. So as you will know today, and we are super proud of it, and people have been challenging us quite a bit, today's panel is a little bit 50-50 diverse between women and men, man and female. That's a big accomplishment. So she had that kind of a sense 10 years ago. Today, Regina is building personal brands and authentic visibility. And she's also an individual investor in some high-tech startup companies. With that, welcome, Regina.
Thank you very much. And here comes Thomas. Thomas, born and raised here, Nordrhein-Westfalen.
Yeah, very proud of it.
But he lives in America, in the San Francisco area for 32 years already. Half of his career, and this is how I got to know him, he was building startups from scratch, as he says, from PowerPoint to IPOs. The other half of his career, he was working in huge corporates. And as you can imagine, the combination, as we see on Transatlantic, he was working for Deutsche Telekom, Logitech, and Intel. And he is the founder of Transatlantic AI Exchange, bringing his core competences on both sides together. This is him, your host of today.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for coming. So before we start, if I could just spend like 1.5 minutes, so this is all timed by the minute, to talk about the Transatlantic AI Exchange. I just want to give you a quick overview. Don't even start to read this. Don't worry about it. But if you are interested in artificial intelligence, in startups, in B2B, the mid-size, we call it in Germany, the Mittelstand, so to speak, but everything that is around artificial intelligence, feel free, go to our website, Transatlantic AI Exchange. Follow us on LinkedIn. We have monthly online events. So far, we have had 25 sessions over the course of 2 years. I am very proud to say that we have over 100 experts from German government representatives, from research institutions, from the DFKI, from the KIT, from the TUM, and now hopefully all more from Nordrhein-Westfalen. And in general, all the sessions that we have ever put together on a monthly basis is on our website, and they are free to watch for everybody. So if you're a startup person, you want to learn about incubation programs in Germany, and they're quite a bit, and they're all different, to listening to experts from Silicon Valley, from DeepMind or Google or some others, go to our website and check it out. So with that, I would start with a big thank you to Jörg Rose, Christian Themat, as well as Peter. I don't know what Peter is. I don't know if he's here, but I really, and Felix as well, I really, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, did not know that the digital demo even existed. It was Jörg I think it was in Las Vegas in January, when he was like, wouldn't you mind moving your transatlantic thing over to Düsseldorf? And I was like, I'm not sure. And I tell you what I have seen today, yesterday, the evening event, I will tell you right here, and we talked about it today a little bit, there will be more transatlantic AI exchanges happening in North Rhine-Westphalia over the next 24 months. I will guarantee that. It has been phenomenal what I have experienced over the last few days. So looking forward to see it.
Woo!
I don't know where the slide is, but I also want to very specially thank the Consul General in San Francisco. Oliver could not be here. He's on vacation. It's a good reason not to be here. But they're also a sponsor of the Transatlantic AI Exchange. So remotely sent them our thanks to make this all happen in the first place. So just quickly, the Transatlantic Exchange is very simple. There's a platform that everybody can watch. If you guys have a topic that you would like to discuss, if you want to be a speaker, if you want to be a moderator, send us an email. Everything that we do on an online basis will always be free, because the purpose of that platform is to build a community of AI and deep-minded and transatlantic-minded individuals from every sector of an ecosystem. And it will always be for free, and the content will always be shared to everybody. Okay, so that's our commitment. With that, let's start the sessions, and I would like to ask the Consul General of the United States over on stage, as well as Felix, the CEO of, what is it exactly? The NRW business. Thank you very much. I guess without Felix, this wouldn't have happened here. Have a seat if you like. Grab a seat. And as I said earlier, there's a third person, sorry, Gerard. Gerard de Graaf is the senior European envoy for digital for the European Commission in the United States. And the European Commission just decided less than half a year ago to open an office in San Francisco. So he is the European representative in the United States in San Francisco. He could not be here, but he was willing and able to actually provide a quick video clip, which I would like to play.
Hello from San Francisco, from the European office in San Francisco. I'm really pleased to be part of your conference. About 1 year ago, last October, I spoke at another event, an AI event organized by Thomas Neubert. And this was like one of the very few events on AI. They were about the metaverse. They were about the Digital Services Act and the Digital Markets Act, landmark legislation of the European Union that has just been adopted, or they were about semiconductors and bottlenecks in supply chains. It is far too early. This is a fast developing technology. You're stifling innovation. Are you perhaps regulating AI because you cannot compete on the technology? Are you trying to hold the US and others around the world back? That was the kind of tone that we experienced when we arrived. Well, then, of course, the world changed. In November, ChatGPT-3 came out, and the rest is history. And when people now talk about the EU AI Act, they often tell me, look, it cannot come quickly enough. You're too slow. If you have an agreement by the end of the year, it's going to take another 2 years before the agreement is actually going to produce legal effects on the ground. We cannot wait 2 years. So it's interesting that within 1 year, the approach, the attitude has changed 180 degrees. I mean, we must not forget that AI holds tremendous promise to improve our quality of life in healthcare, in energy, smart transport, in agriculture, of course, in industry, with much more effective manufacturing processes that can help raise our productivity in an aging society. So we must maximize all these positives, and we must, of course, minimize the risks. Well, the EU is now in the final stretch of the negotiations on the AI Act. We have started, there's been a first trilogue, and we are, I think, all confident that before the end of the year, we will have an agreement on the EU AI Act. Just maybe to recall, when we talk about an AI Act, we are not talking about that the EU will regulate every piece of artificial intelligence. We are focusing on the risks. It's a risk-based approach. It's motivated by a product safety our product safety policy. So we're looking at situations where AI can present risks to the users. And we have defined 4 categories of risks. Unacceptable risks. The EU doesn't want to become a surveillance society. High risks, for example, in healthcare. For example, when people kind of apply for a mortgage. Risk relating to employment situations. For example, in the context of recruitment, judicial decisions. Those will be subject to more kind of obligations, for example, transparency, documentation, impact assessment. And then we have the lower risk. We call it limited risk or minimal risks. We've started to work with the United States in the context of the Trade and Technology Council around standards, because we will need a lot of standards to be developed in this area. The only main difference, I would say, and in many respects, we agree on the goals, we agree on the direction. The only main difference between the EU and the US is that the EU will put in place binding regulations, and the US, at least until now, and probably for the foreseeable future, will continue to rely on self-regulation. Well, this is kind of has to do with the political situation, it has to do with legal traditions, but we will manage these situations as well as we can. Now, what our organizing is to keep really close tabs on where we are going with the regulation, how the EU will regulate high-risk AI, and so that companies are prepared and actually can turn it to their advantage, because at the end of the day, there is no market without trust. And if in the European Union we can put in place a framework that just bolsters trust, that makes sure that the users of AI trust that the AI will produce outcomes that are fair, that are transparent and non-discriminatory, I think we will all be better off. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Gerard. All right. Thank you, Gerard, for providing us the video. For the next batch of speakers, you see, for example, if you guys could already come over here so we get everybody set up so we get it quickly going. With that in mind, I just want to remind everybody here on the stage today, as well as people who are dialing in from the United States, people are coming here for this particular session, literally flying in from Finland, coming here by train or car from Luxembourg, coming here from very far south, the city of Munich. Yeah, they don't get a visa, they can come right up here, which is okay. But I want to thank everybody, because everybody is busy these days and everybody has spent their committed time to sit here and share their viewpoints with all of you. And I really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. With that, I would like to hand it right over to, I think the first one is Consul General Cao. Thank you very much for joining, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So my name is Pauline Cao. I'm the U.S. Consul General here in Dusseldorf, and I've been a diplomat for about 22 years. I'm very, very happy that the senior EU envoy for digital in the US went before me, because he talked about all the government stuff, all the policy stuff, all the stuff that, you know, is a little bit different than from the demographic in this room, because I feel very young. The average age here is very different than the audience that I normally deal with. So it's very cool. So I'm just going to talk about what I think when I come to the space AI, which is really the next gen of what I think when I approach technology writ large. First of all, I admire the people who are in this undertaking, because you set no limits on your imagination. You set no limits on what you can do. And it is that kind of fearless, no limit thinking that takes us into generations and generations of renewing technology. Yeah. So that is number one. Number two, all of you are engaged in an endeavor that came from something that was like a fire inside of you. And for me, in my language, I say, this is start with a why. You may know a philosopher, modern day philosopher, life coach, whatever, Simon Sinek, very, very famous. He advises companies and he always says, start with a why.
But here's my take on start with the why. You know why you're engaged in your venture in AI, in development. And hopefully it is because number one, it's your passion. Number two, it is going to deliver something for somebody who needs this progress. But if you start with a why, stay with a why, because the path to realizing what it is that you're doing may get very circuitous and very detoured, and sometimes you don't even see what it is. So that's why you have to stay with the why. Because I am government, I want all of you, as you engage in this conversation, to think about something that you have to be an active citizen and engaging voice in this, which is, what do you want the government to do? What do you need policymakers to say? What do you need policymakers to decide? What kind of regulatory framework do they need to pave? You're the train, but what kind of rail do they need to lay down so that you can run at your max speed? And I'm sorry to say that regulation and government and policy is always catching up, but we have to reduce that time loop. We have to reduce that delay. And I have one last point before I close out, which is you have to lower the skepticism and the fear factor on AI, because there's so much discussion about AI. ChatGPT came out and universities were all up in arms. It's going to disrupt our learning. Well, the professors that have no fear of technology will integrate the technology into their teaching. But those universities, those professors who reject the technology, they will actually be left behind. So fear will only leave you behind, but you have to let the users know how they actually integrate and embrace the technologies that your passion leads you to do. My very last point is the transatlantic aspect. The transatlantic aspect is indispensable post-World War II, during Cold War, after that, but it is especially important now where technology is destroying, obliterating borders. So we're doing the NRW USA year. If there's anything you can do to contribute to that, there are 2 QR codes, one for the German site, one for the English site. Scan it, take a look, and then participate. Tell your story on this platform, reduce the fear from the users, and invite people to embrace your technology. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. First of all, I admire your energy. I love it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't think the next gentleman needs any introduction in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, but please, Felix Neugart, the CEO of North Rhine-Westphalen Global Business, the stage is yours. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much, Thomas, Pauline, Regina, dear friends, dear partners from Düsseldorf, from the US, and from all over the world. Let me also welcome you here very warmly to this special transatlantic event on behalf of NRW Global Business, the trade and investment agency of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. It's, of course, a great honor, a great pleasure for me to be part of this special, of this unique event today to kick off the very first transatlantic AI summit here in the city of Düsseldorf in North Rhine-Westphalia. And it's definitely a great event. And I would like to thank our partners in this endeavor. First of all, of course, you, Thomas, the Transatlantic AI Exchange, who is, if I may put it like this, the mother of all of these events. Of course, the DigiHub Düsseldorf, Peter Hornig, I don't know if he bothered to show up now. So thank you to the DigiHub Düsseldorf. And of course, KI NRW, which is German and translates into AI NRW. So thank you also, thanks also to you. And I think we have all joined forces to kick off a very special project to build a bridge in a key technology between the US and Germany and Europe. And I think we have heard a lot about the the importance and also probably the challenges with this technology. Again, it's a very important event. And building bridges, this is actually what we do at NRW Global Business. On the one hand, we support companies from abroad, from the US, for instance, when they want to come to North Rhine-Westphalia, want to come to our state, want to set up shop here. On the other hand, we also support companies from here, young, innovative companies that want to go abroad, who want to do business in foreign markets, especially, of course, in our transatlantic partner country. And of course, I believe that we have a lot to offer here in North Rhine-Westphalia to foreign investors. And no worries, I will stick to my 3 to 4 minute limit. I could go on for hours, of course, but let me just mention 4 factors. Of course, I think we have a great market potential here for companies. If you do B2C business, we have in a circle of about 500 kilometers around this city, around Düsseldorf, we have 160 million consumers, 1/3 of the overall EU consumer market. We've also, I think, great potential for B2B business. If you want to sell to companies, 19 of the 50 largest companies in Germany are based here in North Rhine-Westphalia. We have over 700,000 small and medium-sized companies. 1/3 of the famous German Mittelstand, the hidden champions, is based in our state. So I think also for the B2B business, we offer a great potential. Second, I think we are a very innovative state. We have what we call Europe's densest R&D landscape. We have over almost 70 universities here in North Rhine-Westphalia. We have over 100 technology and research centers. So for, I think, almost any technology, we have cutting edge research here. We have partners with whom you can develop and market your technologies and your products. And third, I think we are a very vibrant startup location. We have many students from these universities who establish companies, more than one company every day, a new company, innovative company is established here in NRW. And I would like to invite you to check out these companies and to look if you can do business with them. We have also a number of support tools like the DigiHubs and other platforms to thrive, to grow our startup scene here in North Rhine-Westphalia. And fourth, and this is the last point, I think probably it's most important, we have a very open, a very welcoming, a very international culture here. So I think every company, every businessman and lady, everyone who wants to do business, who wants to settle here is very much welcome in our state. And this is why we are also, I think, the largest investment location here in Germany. We have over 20,000 foreign companies who've decided to set up shop and to explore the potential that we have here in North Rhine-Westphalia. So all in, I think we have a great potential here in general, but also focusing on AI technologies. I'm very curious now to listen to the presentations, to the pitches that we have here. Again, it's the first. We are looking very much forward to develop this topic also on a transatlantic base in the framework of the transatlantic year. And I wish us all now a very fruitful, a very rewarding event. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Felix. I appreciate both of your times. Now, if the CEO goes over time, that's a nice excuse. So give us the 3 minutes back on the back end. We will work it out. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, just leave the mics there. The next step will be viewpoints from the venture capital and investment community. And by the way, this is all real. I have a script here, which is literally listed by the minute. That's a little pressure. But the thing is, I don't even know at the moment who is already here from the speakers, and I have no idea who is actually showing up online from remote. So let's see what happens. Everybody on stage? So here we go. Nice to meet you. Have a seat, please. One person is missing, at least according to my, is Olaf Jacobi here? Okay. He may be online. Again, he may be online. We will see. Regina, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're gonna start with Jussi Hetonen. Jussi, your stage.
Okay, can you hear me?
3 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I thought it was ladies first, and but okay, I'll try to keep up with the energy. So my name is Jussi Hetonen. I'm heading the EIC division at the European Investment Bank. So the EIC division is is a team of people managing the largest deep tech fund in Europe, so the European Innovation Council Fund. We have a team of 37 people spread across Luxembourg, Paris, Berlin, Madrid, Vienna, Stockholm, Helsinki, so all over the place. And as we spoke about diversity, we are 48% women in the investment management team. With odd number of 37, it's hard to have an equal number, but we'll try with the next recruit to have the equal diversity. That goes also in the management team. So we have 50% managers. So, and I can only say that's probably one of the key factors of our success is to have a diversity in the team. Few words about EIC. EIC fund, as I said, is the largest deep tech fund in Europe. It's 4 billion of committed capital. For the moment, we have 400 companies in our portfolio. It's adding up 100 per year. To date, in 2023, we have closed, again, it's approximate because I think this week we're closing again a few transactions, but approximately 75 to 80 transactions this year. So we're going to close the years with 120 transactions, give or take. So highly active, highly productive. What basically makes EIC different, it's a publicly funded, and the only difference, I would say the biggest difference into normal VC is that we don't do active origination. There is a specific program set up by the European Commission, European Innovation Council, through which you apply both grant and equity. And if you get through that application, you get also access to the EIC fund and allows us to invest to your company. So have a look at the website if you're interested. Also, I'm happy to discuss after this panel. Few observations as we're on the transatlantic exchange from our portfolio companies. I will use two important ones. One, I think although there's a lot of gloomy clouds in the venture capital market at the moment, I think there's a lot of opportunities. First and foremost, in deep tech space, what I see is the investor base is broadening. The money, yes, and the amounts are going down, but I think there's a lot of more interested investors eyeing on the market or investing in deep tech companies. One prominent one is US investors. So we see more and more US investors eyeing deal flow in Europe, interested in European technologies. It's an opportunity for the European companies to explore, expand, especially when it's go to market in the US. The second point, just to keep within my 3-4 minutes, is basically that there's a lot of now, because the liquidity is going down, there's a lot of room for cooperation, mergers, joint ventures, be it within Europe, be it with the US companies, talent, a lot of good talent in the US. So I think this is also raising the head and raising opportunities to do more collaborative research, collaborative growth, be it on a informal basis, joint ventures or mergers. That's my 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So do we know if Nardo is online?
Yes. I'm on.
Fantastic. Nardo, welcome.
He's muted. Hi, Nardo.
Hi,
Here we go.
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Super.
Okay, great. So basically, I'd like to share my screen here. So as a way of introduction, I'm Nardo Manaloto, the managing partner of Qubits Ventures. I'm a venture fund here in the US. I invest in pre-seed, seed level quantum technology companies. And I invest anywhere globally, and definitely looking at Germany very closely in this space. And what I wanted to talk about and share about is what we call the nascent area of quantum artificial intelligence. Okay, so what is quantum AI? So really, quantum AI is the combination or fusion of quantum computing and AI together. So think about it, right? So AI is the intelligence portion and quantum computing is the exponential computing portion. What will happen if you combine those two things together? So this area is still in its growth stage. It really encompasses applications of quantum computing, principles and hardware to accelerate and enhance AI algorithms, and the application of AI techniques to quantum computing and application development and operations. So this is current AI. So in the very high level, this is how things are done in AI with classical computer architecture right now. You have a classical computer looking at classical data and you process it with algorithms. Here's the current state of where quantum AI is at. So we're looking at classical computation with classical data passing information into a quantum computer, and the results are brought back to the classical computation via classical data as well. So quantum computing impact on AI. So what's going to happen here is AI will obtain a lot of advantages in the area of solutions, optimizing solution. It can spot bigger patterns in large data set. It can facilitate integration of diverse data set. But we have a lot of challenges in this space of quantum still, right? So error correction, scalability, we don't have the kind of hardware and the level of qubits capability to do something much more significant here, and more things like standards and protocol. It's still quite expensive as well. So the other part of it is AI also enhances quantum computing. So from a speed perspective, AI can basically help with doing things like sorting out databases, can help do things in processing probabilistic problem in a much better way. A new area is quantum machine learning. So this is a new way of programming quantum computers using machine learning and AI. And then quantum computers are good in what we call simulation. So although AI is already getting there, I think the combination of quantum computing and simulation and AI will increase the capability in the simulation space that could apply to many different industries. And quantum computing enhanced by AI. So this is the other side. So AI is already helping out with error correction, optimizing parameters within quantum computers, and also design and configuration. That's more on the quantum circuits, quantum gates, and quantum programs. Okay, and some of you new terms that are out there: quantum neural networks, quantum natural language processing, quantum machine learning, quantum annealing. So it's definitely a growing area. I wanted to make you aware of these things because they already exist. So hopefully, if people are looking to build something, they start looking into quantum AI at this point. And in summary, quantum AI is nascent. Quantum AI is about enhancing AI and AI enhancing quantum. It's a symbiotic relationship, and we definitely have a lot to think about here. I think my time's up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nardo. All right. Before we go to the next one, I know we are tight on schedule, but I would like to give an example, which I think is really important and valuable in regards to the power of networking and giving back. I want to give you a 30-second story. A few months ago, when I was approached by Jörg to show here up with the Transatlantic AI Exchange, we already had a session, my regular 1 hour deep dive session on a monthly basis, remote only, everybody can watch it. And it was about quantum computing. And Christian, remember, you had the topic in mind because you thought that is a valuable topic to represent the state of North Rhine-Westphalia on a global stage. Jörg introduced me to Nardo, who is a quantum computing investor in Los Angeles. I would not know him through Jörg. I met Christian, they picked the topic, we put the session together, and we had a North Rhine-Westphalian focused representation online session on a global scale about quantum computing. That was the first half of the story. The second half is, I was invited in May to speak about Transatlantic AI Exchange in the city of Erfurt, invited by the Secretary of State at that, what is it, Thüringen, sorry. And I was speaking there, and after me was somebody speaking, a very successful CEO of a quantum computing startup company in Germany. I told him about Nardo, who was scheduled to come to Germany to scout for an investment opportunity 2 months later. This was in May. Within 48 hours, the CEO of the quantum computing German startup company had a direct conversation with a quantum computing VC based in Los Angeles. That's the power of networking, and that's the power of an open platform where everybody is invited to join and share. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. So as next, I'm going to invite Estelle on stage. Estelle is investor from Bromas Ventures. Your stage, Estelle.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for inviting me today to this exchange. It's really nice to be here. So I'm Estelle. I'm an investor at Promus Venture. I'm originally from an economics background, coming from the European Space Agency, where I was leading investments and ventures there. And now I invest at Promus Ventures, where we are an early stage venture capital firm. So we are originally spun out of Chicago, a large family holding there, and then made our way to Silicon Valley in San Francisco and opened an office recently 2.5 years ago in Luxembourg, where we deploy our space fund based there. So we're truly a transatlantic venture capital firm. And we like to invest between at the intersection between large mature industries and transformational technologies with companies that can execute and that can also unlock new markets and technology combinations. In all of the sectors that we invest, so automation, connectivity and compute, enhanced production, we see AI as key to unlocking new developments and enhance new processes. And we also see that AI investments has been a destination that has been very popular, especially in the US and in Europe. But what is driving investments in the US in particular is also the involvement of large companies such as Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and NVIDIA stock that has been rising is also a good data point to show the interest into AI companies against a general slowdown into VC investments. So we really see AI as a key to unlocking new business models. And we might think that space is far ahead from this domain, but actually space is a main component to it, because satellites produce such amounts of data that are untapped yet, and where AI can prove very beneficial and can unlock new developments and new businesses. Just to finish with a couple of our portfolio companies where we see the benefits of AI in combination with our thesis on space and transformational technologies. We have a company that is called Recyclei, that uses an AI software, which is core to its end-to-end waste production, computer vision waste development. We also have Jua, which is developing the first digital twin of the Earth's atmosphere and its entire parameters. And just to finish, we're investing in early stage, so from C to Series A round in companies and actively deploying. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And just to further enhance the networking effect, there's actually an individual in the audience, an early stage investor around Web3 and blockchain in the aerospace industry. So there's already a connection here that you guys can make. So glad you came. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just learned that Olaf is online.
Oh,
So Olaf, welcome. Your stage.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
yes. Hi, Olaf.
Perfect. So I'm going to share my screen. One sec. I hope this will work.
Yep.
Yeah, is it working?
Yes.
Perfect. So so my name is Olaf. I'm managing partner with at Capnamic. I'm an investor since 2007. Before that, I have founded, grown, and exited 3 own tech startups. And Capnamic is a venture firm located in Berlin, Cologne, and Munich. We are predominantly investing in German-speaking countries, so Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, mainly in B2B tech, some deep tech investments, initial ticket sizes, $500,000 up to $6 million. And we do pre-seed, seed, and Series A as initial investments. And I would like to share my 2 cents about investing in AI, about our investment thesis. So the big question is, in which sector or startups are we going to invest as a European VC? And so now you should see the next slide, but I can see it on your screen that you can't see it.
It's called. Yes,
Here we go.
So then we do it this way. All right. So again, so the question is in what to invest. AI as well as other technologies, they have a stack. And as a VC, we have to distinguish in which area and which level we are going to invest. I have simplified this for sure. And so we have the hardware layer. For a VC, especially in Europe, is way too capital intensive. And then we have the large language models or the language models. I would say, especially for a European investor and for startups in Europe, I wouldn't say the ship is sailed, but it's getting crowded. Just as one data point, 50 of 200 Y Combinator startups in the US are focusing on large language models. And then we have the application layer. And this application layer sometimes is too narrow, too niche-y, in order to create a big company out of it. So this is at first the first way of thinking. But there's one interesting fact. Almost every meta market has its security sub-market. And a meta market is AI. A market which will change our life, our work, how we behave, how we work, such as the internet, personal computers, smartphones, social media. And all of these meta markets, they have their security sub-markets, like cybersecurity, antivirus, drone detection and protection, and so on and so forth. And so that's why we took a decision to find a company or a team which will focus or is focusing on the security issue of AI. So to make sure that AI is not putting harm on ourselves. So for the more seasoned people in the audience, so a company who's trying to prevent Skynet, if we think about the Terminator movies. And so we searched for this company, and last year we invested in a company called QuantPy. And QuantPy, as a mission and vision statement, enables the society for a safe and self-determined coexistence with intelligence machines. Intelligence machines is AI and machine learning models, and so their technology is enabling big companies, organizations to create or to make the black box, AI is a black box, a more transparent box, to really look into the AI. What is the AI really doing? Is AI learning and getting biased or doing wrong decisions? QuantPy is doing a reverse engineering on any kind of AI and is making sure that large organizations can handle on an AI trust platform. This is just a screenshot. Sorry, it's a little bit small, but I think it's gonna be recorded here, and then you can zoom it up. So large organizations and companies can organize their hundreds, sometimes thousands of AI models on a nice dashboard, and QuantPy is defining which AI model is causing harm or have some security issues. So this is just one example in what kind of AI companies we believe we should invest. And if you have additional questions, just get in contact with me, olaf@capnamic.com, or find me on LinkedIn. I think my time is up.
Thank you very much, Olaf. So immediately handing over to Caroline. Caroline, welcome. Your stage.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Carolyn. I'm a venture partner with Tola Capital. We are headquartered in Seattle and I'm based in Munich, and we invest in early stage enterprise B2B companies globally. I've spent my career working on enterprise go-to-market strategies for software companies. And in my most recent role as Chief Marketing Officer at Think Project, I was responsible for the sustainability initiative. And today I want to talk about the role that AI-powered software will have on ESG. Climate change and digital transformation are going to be the two most powerful trends of our century. And the way we manage it as humanity and the way the two trends are truly interconnected will kind of define our future. And so ESG is super important to start to look at when we think about the future of humanity, sorry. The vast amount of data that is being ingested, AI software or AI-powered software can help to analyze and process it, and giving people the information needed to make decisions on it. And AI really goes beyond just an analysis, but it allows you to get deep insights into patterns that you normally wouldn't recognize. And so as a business decision maker, it gives you the ability to make better informed decisions. AI-powered ESG software goes broader than just climate change. So looking at environmental, social, and the governance matters is becoming important. Both the European Union as well as the United States have developed and launched frameworks for ESG reporting to drive more transparency, but also to kind of promote sustainable business practices. And what that means for companies is that it allows them to set targets towards reduction of greenhouse gases. It allows them to create programs for employees to promote diversity and inclusion, and also provide more transparency into their supply chain. What is important to understand is that the underlying data that a company currently has available around ESG isn't very precise. And so if I'm responsible for the sustainability initiative, I need to make sure that I really can rely on the data that I'm having to make decisions based on it. And today, there's a big focus on getting better data, getting more accuracy, particularly when I think about greenhouse gas emissions scope 3. We need to make sure that we drive transparency into it and are getting better at providing the data. So what that means is that AI will be able to help me identify the patterns that are underlying, and I can be more confident to make decisions based on those data. Successful AI-powered ESG solutions will be able to help you kind of create a roadmap on your ESG journey. So it will detect anomalies, get better error reporting, and help you to increase and enhance the quality of your underlying data. Most recently, there have been some trends that just reporting on ESG data alone isn't enough anymore. So what will be important is to use the right technology to be able to tie your ESG data back into your operation and operational and finance data as well. And so one of the exciting investments that we have in our portfolio is a company headquartered in New York called ESG Flow. So I encourage you to check that out. And I want to leave you with 2 points. If you are currently either a startup or you are looking to found a company, really think about how you can leverage AI to change industries and to work on kind of the most pressing challenges of our times. If you are working in a company, I really encourage you to think about what's the role your company plays in creating a more sustainable future for all of us. Thank you.
Super. Thank you. Do we have Eva? We have Eva. Fantastic. Eva, welcome. Over to you.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Eva Maria Orbas. I'm an operating partner at Point72 Ventures. And while I live in San Francisco, I'm actually Luxembourgian German. In fact, I was born in Düsseldorf, out of all places. So I wanted to use my time today to share some of the fundamental differences that I've observed between the American and the European ecosystem, and hopefully provide some tangible advice to European founders pitching to American investors, but also what American investors and entrepreneurs can learn from German founders. So to kick it off, first of all, focusing on what German entrepreneurs should pay attention to when pitching to American venture capitalists. First of all is focusing on growth and revenue as opposed to profit. I hear both American and German founders pitch to me every day, and there's a lot of emphasis on profit at an early stage, which especially in artificial intelligence is actually not yet necessary. So focusing on your ARR numbers, or even just to use the growth numbers, I think is extremely beneficial here. The second one is to ask for more money. So one of the biggest differences that I see is that founders at the exact same stage of growth ask for more money in the US than if they come from Europe. And I think this is a very interesting signal point to investors. So I would highly encourage you to ask for more money at different stages of funding. And the last thing is to embrace failure and also embrace risk. As a German, I very often think that failure is something negative. I actually co-founded a startup that failed, and I hid that fact for a long time, being embarrassed about it. Once I came to Silicon Valley, I realized it's actually not such a negative thing. If you show that you have built resilience, if you show that you have actually learned different things from that experience, it can be something very positive. So those are some of the different mindset differences and cultural nuances that I have observed. Now, on the flip side, I think there's a lot of extremely unique capabilities and advantages that come out of the European and especially the German ecosystem. First of all, I think we need to embrace incremental innovation. Germany especially is very good at that. So we have a labor system and an educational system that encourages young people as young as 15 years old to join, for example, an automotive company and stick with that company for a very, very long time. As a result of that, they become truly masters of their skill, perfecting processes over a long period of time. And this incremental innovation, I think, is something that is very unique to the German ecosystem and stands in contrast to the more rapid innovation that comes out of the American ecosystem. The second advice I have is to embrace AI regulation. Often regulation is seen as a hamper or hampering to innovation. And while that isn't necessarily untrue, I think especially Europe has produced some excellent and unique founders and startups that are compliant and ethical while also driving AI innovation forward. And last but not least, embrace European adaptability. We all know that Europe is an extremely heterogeneous place. Every country is different. Every country has a different regulation, different languages, et cetera, et cetera. And I think specifically European and German founders are very adept at having creative go-to-market strategies for every different market and being highly creative and unique in their approaches as they grow and build their businesses. So those are some takeaways from me. And thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you very much.
So as we are, thank you very much, everybody. Greatly appreciate it. And just to put this in perspective, what you just heard, I call it speed dating. And I'm normally more into 3 people for 1 hour, go very deep, but this is speed dating. Why is this important and unique? It's about networking. It's about whom you call if you need something from somebody. So if you look at what you just heard, which is on the surface, that's being recognized. But if you think about it, we had somebody flying in from Finland. Is it Finland? You see? Representing the European Union's fund. We had somebody calling from San Francisco. We have 2 people representing and coming from Munich. We had somebody coming in actually for this from Luxembourg, and we had somebody calling in from Los Angeles. Not a bad representation. So with that, thank you very much. And for the next batch, if they could come over here. Appreciate that. I see Jörg. I see Matthias is on a phone call, closing a deal with a startup. Yeah, Kevin. Nee, du machst den. Du machst den. Oder nicht?
Also eigentlich dachte ich, mach den.
Ich sag,
Welcome.
have a seat. Jörg, grüß dich. Hallo. Grüße dich. Hallo. Let me go ahead. I need a water. Just go ahead. We are running behind schedule.
Okay, so welcome. Welcome, gentlemen. My pleasure having you here. So we're coming from the money side, and now we're going over to the startup side. So this is again where the network ideally comes together. And we want to be starting with Matthias Notz. Yes, Matthias, your stage.
Or the microphone? Oh, we have two microphones you have to share.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I did not make a deal on the phone call.
Okay.
My flight was canceled back to Munich tonight, so I maybe stay longer for the party.
Okay.
So I'm from Munich. Yeah, look, I'm great in dancing, but that's not the topic for right now, Regina and Thomas. I do a 3-minute contribution. I reduce it to 2.5 minutes because I'm running behind the schedule.
We already late.
I'm Matthias, running a company called German Entrepreneurship to bridge the gaps between global innovation ecosystems, Silicon Valley, Singapore, just 2 examples. And we do have an AI competence center. So a center reflecting on AI topics, also what it means for startups, for German startups and for international startups. And I share maybe one thought or 2 thoughts in my short contribution. I put something together. I know that you probably cannot read it, so I do it for you. Just have a look. If you look in US and Germany and Asia, especially China here. And so to make a conclusion here and to share that on a stage, which you present quite perfectly, the Transatlantic International Exchange on AI, the US is still far ahead of China, by the way. You see the numbers. Almost 50 billion on private investments in AI compared to China, 13, and Germany, 2.4. So quite a gap, but it's clear Germany is not so big. But still, US is way ahead. So your purpose is very important that we can learn. Yes. So thanks, Thomas, for your initiative here. Also, if you could look at the newly funded AI companies, I brought that number to you here. 542 in the US and 160 in China and 41 in Germany. So just to see the numbers and what we can see. So we need to look and learn from the US, but on a European way. I think you reflect that in other contributions as well. Probably Jörg will mention a little bit on that as well. And if you look in these numbers, that's the purpose, what we are doing, building a bridge between, let's say, Silicon Valley. We have an office there. We look into Asia, in Shanghai and Singapore, and in Germany, in Munich, Berlin, and I'm proud to say in Düsseldorf. We have also an office in Düsseldorf. So we bring it all together. So all of you, if you are based in North Rhine-Westphalia, if you connect me and us, you have a direct connection on AI topics to downtown Palo Alto or to Singapore or to Shanghai, or you go to Thomas directly, which is also a friend of us, and we work closely together. So I think that's my one message for today. I have more stuff to say, but not right now, given the time frame. Thank you, Thomas, for your initiative, and thanks for listening to me for up to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Matthias.
So do we have Chiara? Fantastic. Chiara calling.
Thank
Your
you.
stage, Chiara.
Thank you. Thank you, and thanks for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to introduce you, myself, and the Internet of Underwater Things. My background is that of a researcher and innovator. I've been directing labs, growing in a career in academic position until I reached top institutional roles, defining strategies.
The slides.
As vice rector of La Sapienza. Yeah, you should now see. It's directly shared by you. In my career development as a scientist and innovator, I got passionate more or less a decade ago about enabling the big data on the oceans and working on the sustainable exploitation of marine and underwater environments. We often think that space is the last frontier, but we know much better faraway planets such as Mars than the over 70% of the planet, which is blue and covered by water. And it's an environment which is hosting today the majority of life species we know, and we know little about the underwater environments, and is key to mitigate climate change. It is the environment which will provide food and energy resources for our future, and which today hosts critical infrastructures we discovered because of the Nord Stream event, which need to be protected. Think about offshore plants, the underwater cables, allowing us to get connected today through the internet. There are pipelines, electrical cables, and even some data centers. The economic sector exploiting these resources, the blue economy, is the 8th economy in the world today. It's faster growing than any other economical sector on Earth, but there was a blocking wheel. The lack of monitoring system like the Internet of Things for our terrestrial world, it's not working in the underwater environment, the lack of an underwater wireless infrastructure. Everything we have developed to connect ourselves in the terrestrial world don't work because underwater radio communications don't work, Wi-Fi propagates a couple of centimeters. This is what we have been doing in the last decade from university labs to a spin-off, WSense, I'm now the CEO of. We have built an underwater Wi-Fi by using what marine mammals use, acoustics rather than radio communication without impacting on marine life. And based on this capability, patented underwater wireless communication technologies, we have built solutions that are commercial for in situ monitoring of underwater environments over the water column, allowing to connect all existing sensors. In other words, we have developed a first version of an underwater complete IoT system. In this process, we as scientists, innovators, felt the urgency to put our energy in making this happen in real life, as getting big data from the oceans is key for our future as humankind. So as a result, a deep tech scale-up was started out of university labs. I moved out from top academic roles and I'm now serving in the CEO role of a company, WSense, which just closed its Series A and counts around 50 people in Italy and Norway right now. And it is fast growing. And there is a lot of AI in the ocean tech world. Sensors, drones are smart objects. They require intelligence. AI is used to build adaptive network systems. There is AI in the analytic tools required and more required now that we can finally have the big data on the ocean. And this can enable the sustainable use of the many resources key for humankind in the underwater environment. This is my story and this is what I got passionate about and I work on every day. And I now have three final messages for you. The first one is to managers, industrial professional listening. I would like to highlight that there is another industrial revolution coming, and there is that of the underwater IoT and the ocean big data. To the scientists listening, I would like to say that we work hard every day to develop the ability to think out of the box, to develop disruptive innovations. Our future requires to tackle big problems. Scientists should be, in my view, take the responsibility to embrace the big challenges in front of us. To the founders and entrepreneurs of deep tech companies, I would like to say that you reach the time when you will need the extra funds to fast scale up. And based on our journey, I recommend to rely on experienced investors, institutional investors, and look for those with the right network and experience for you. You need to be in their scope. for being properly evaluated, for your project to be properly evaluated, and to get also maximum support from your investors. So not necessarily the usual suspects, the top VCs are the right ones for you, but the right investors like in Emerge are the ones that can understand you, your network. They can share your values and your visions. And this is the key. So even in 2023, which is known to be kind of an horrible year for getting funded, if you find this kind of investors and you have a strong project, you can actually tick all the boxes for investors and even oversubscribe and faster get funded, which is what we experienced in the last few months. Thanks.
Grazie mille, Chiara.
Thank you. Let me add one comment to Chiara. The reason why I added Chiara to this is to represent the bridge between research and startup entrepreneurship. I don't know if you noticed, if you caught this, but she has been a professor and a researcher in Rome. So she called from Rome, and she turned a research project into a startup. And just last week secured a very big round of funding. And she's working on sustainability issues that I believe will actually change the world. So entrepreneurs, go for it. If you have a good idea, if you solve a problem, you go for it.
Now I got goosebumps. Do we have Tero online?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm here. Hello.
Fantastic, Tero. Welcome.
I guess I can share my screen, right?
Yes, you should be able to. Fantastic.
Okay, you should be able to see it now. Okay. Yeah. So hello, everybody. So I'm Tero Ejanperä, co-founder and chairman of Silo AI. It's the largest pure play AI lab in Europe. In addition to that, I'm also a professor of practice at Aalto University, a number of other roles, including an investor. But Silo AI is, we work with clients as a trusted AI partner, building sort of the solutions and products. We have currently 300 experts, AI experts, half of them with PhDs. So we work very closely with the universities, cutting edge AI research and turning that into products that work. So we have built more than 200 production grade AI solutions so far, and we operate around Europe, also in North America. And basically, when we established the company 5 years ago, our mission was to build an European AI flag, because I think AI is being such an important technology. If you don't control it, you don't have a digital sovereignty. And with generative AI, this is more true than ever, because generative AI, if you think about it, is that when we use it, it's producing content, whether it is text, images, videos, etc. So those are based on the large language models or base models, foundation models, and the one who trains them and how they are being trained is actually deciding what kind of worldview the AI is representing to you. So you can think about it that by just using the language, the text from the, for example, ChatGPT, it is shaping your sort of the thinking as we speak. So who trains and what kind of training data is used for foundation model is very important. And that's why we established a new unit, what we call SiloGen, for generative AI, and focusing on a trustworthy Gen AI, building a sort of the data-centric development tooling, base models, and vertical assets. Fortunately, the starting point was very good because Finland and Europe has funded by European Union and governments. We have in Finland a Lumi. It's a supercomputer named Lumi that is the fastest in Europe, the third fastest in the world, that we can use to actually train these massive LLMs, large language models. And then with our tool set that we have built, we can fine-tune these ones for specific purposes, because I think the problem today is that language models, they hallucinate. So if, for example, you want to put it into medical applications, you need to be very careful. And we have started to develop, for example, a medical is one of the specific LLMs that we are currently developing together with the partners. So we can either work with clients to develop LLMs and foundation models for specific purposes, but we are also building this tool set that can be used to fine-tune and basically for the development of robust and scalable LLM development. So I think that I would like to just to finish that if Europe wants to maintain its digital sovereignty, I think generative AI is putting us into a new situation. And if we don't control the technology, and we are not controlling our culture, we are not controlling our language, and we are not controlling the worldview that our citizens have. And in that sense, it's so important that Europe will invest into Gen AI in a much larger way than it is doing today. I think the regulatory approach that the EU is taking is good, but it's not going to save us if we don't invest into technology. And Silo is one of the leaders in the space and working with other European Gen AI companies and also outside of Europe. So with that, thank you very much for the opportunity to give a glimpse of our capabilities and what Silo is all about. And,
thank you very much. Danke.
Yeah, thank you.
Over to you, Holger.
So there's much to agree with what we just heard, right? I want to reiterate this a little bit. And by the way, I don't have a startup, although I did start up something called CLAIRE, which is the world's largest network of AI research organizations. And quite a few of these are in Germany. Some of them are in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. We're dedicated to ensuring European excellence in AI as part of the global mix of excellence in AI, right? Because we think that European view on AI has something to contribute that's good for the world. A little bit more on that in a moment. But also RWTH Aachen University, where I currently work, is one of the universities in Germany that churns out the largest number of founders. So in some sense, we do our share to help create a vibrant startup ecosystem. And of course, many of these startups use AI techniques. It's incredibly important to realize the value of sovereignty in the space of AI for Europe, especially if we want to work together with our friends internationally, with our friends in the US and elsewhere. It's very, very important that we can do that at the same level, right? That we can make the same kind of contributions. That doesn't mean that we directly need to have to take on Google and Microsoft here in Europe. We have other capabilities and other niches, and we've heard about some of them earlier in the session. The one point I want to impress upon you is what we've actually just heard in the last presentation, and that is, you look at the current crop of large language models coming from US-based global businesses, and they're very impressive, great work, but they don't satisfy a single one of the 7 principles of trustworthy AI that the European Commission and their experts have drawn up wisely in 2019. They don't satisfy a single one. They're not fair, at least we can't show that they're fair. They're not robust, right? They're not transparent. So there's a lot of work to be done, and it's great that Silo is doing it, but there is room for a lot more people in Europe and in the States to be working on that. And that's going to be very important for us, because we have to ask ourselves the question, what kind of AI do we actually want? And that's my second point. I think in almost all circumstances, but certainly in the ones that have been mentioned in the beginning prominently by Gerard de Graaf, the EU envoy in the US, we want AI systems that we can trust because they have an impact on our healthcare, for example, on our educational system, right? We want to be able to trust them. And this is where it's going to be great to bring together what the US has been really good at, which is entrepreneurialism, the entrepreneurial spirit, with the German and European commitment to trustworthy, to trusted technology. We are very good at this. over here. Yes, that sometimes moves slower, that sometimes is a little bit more incremental, as we've heard before. But in the end, it doesn't just get the job done. It gets the job done right. It gets the job done in the way that we want it done. And I really hope that many of you here who are, inspired by all the great ideas floating around in this hall here, take this seriously and commit yourself to that. I am deeply heartened having walked around here, seeing so many companies working on human-centric AI. This is AI that doesn't try to basically just replace people outright, but to augment their capabilities to make up for their weaknesses. So I'm going to conclude by saying, if you walk out of here and there's still a few people at the stands, have a look at that and ask yourself, which of these technologies actually helps us to become better at solving problems, at dealing with things that we don't want to just automate away. And I think that's going to be the technology that we should all work on and work towards together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olga.
Vielen Dank. Jörg Bienert, Munich calling.
Thank you very much. My name is Jörg Bienert. I'm a partner at Alexander Tamm, one of Germany's leading AI and data and AI consultancies with 350 people. But my main topic today is to talk about the German AI Association, which I founded about 5 years ago together with other startups. We have more than 400 members right now, and these are all companies that are clearly focusing on data and AI analytics. We have a strong relationship to politics. For example, we have been involved in the discussions about and the elaboration of the German AI strategy. We are in continuous conversations regarding the European AI Act. And we have one special project which we called Large European AI Models, which is also aiming at digital sovereignty in this area, because when GPT-3 arrived, we said, well, there's a huge wave coming, and it will be a disruptive wave in the area of large language models. And we figured out that we need a lot of investment, especially in infrastructure, especially in supercomputing infrastructure in Germany, in order to cope with the applications that are provided right now by OpenAI and Google. So if we want to build European ChatGPT and similar language models, we have to have the infrastructure, the data, and the algorithms. The algorithms are there, the data is also there, but we need the infrastructure to do these large training jobs. And besides that, we are also and fostering our network of these more than 400 data and AI companies in order to make them successful. So we are having working groups regarding different topics. We are having continuous sessions with corporates, where corporates are getting interested into what our startups are doing. Which means that if you are a startup that is dedicated to data and AI, contact us, become member of our association. If you are a corporate, contact us in order to get into our network, in order to get to know exciting products and services by our members. And if you are an investor, we also have investor sessions with the goal to bring investors and startups and AI companies together. So contact us. You're very welcome to join our community. Thank you very much.
Vielen Dank. And now we're going over to Italy again. Federico, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, from San Francisco, and good afternoon to everyone in Düsseldorf. Hope you can see my screen. Yes. And perfect. Thank you, first of all, to Thomas for the kind invitation. I'm sorry I cannot be there in person, but I'll try to do my best to give you some hints about what we do at EIT Digital. You can see from the title, we are about building a strong digital Europe, which is not only strong in digital, but is also inclusive, fair, and sustainable. And what we mean by that is that we want to make sure that Europe can compete with the Americans, with the Asians on technology, but also always taking into account that we have the European values with us. How do we do that? We do that by building an ecosystem, which is a community of 350 organizations across Europe. Also, many are coming from Germany. This represents universities, corporates, startups, research centers that together build activities in innovation and in education. And if you go from left to right, in the education area, we nurture the talents in digital that are not only able to understand digital technologies, but also understand the business implications of these technologies, and are able to build those companies that can then grow and become worldwide champions. And in the innovation part, we take these students and we help them going from idea to MVP, to building a company, and to scale their company up through access to finance and access to US market. And of course, all these programs are also open to any other entrepreneurs that wants to join us and get our support at any level. And I think Chiara is a perfect example because she worked with us with our growth services for getting her fundraising done. So our ambition is really to get more companies like WSense out there. There are some, we need more to compete with the rest of the world. If I have to focus on 3 activities that are going a bit beyond this, that could be relevant for you in Europe and US, I would like to focus on one specifically on AI. So we are part of a bigger community. The name says EIT Digital. We are part of the EIT, which is the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. And we as EIT Digital run a strategic activity on AI, bringing together all the other EIT's organizations, so the EIT Food, the EIT Health, and so forth, and taking out all those activities on AI and connecting to a larger group of stakeholders. And you see here some of the stakeholders we are addressing with our activities. So if you are into AI, even with a specific vertical in mind, you can reach out to us, and we are also able to connect you to our sister organizations at the EIT. Then we work on thought leadership, because as I said, it's quite important for us to make sure that we bring our values into technology, but also that we give policymakers recommendations on how to deploy technologies in a way that are on the one hand protecting citizens and values, but at the same time are also allowing entrepreneurs to run their business and not creating hurdles in their deployment because the policies are not the right ones. And you see very big on screen, because the latest report we built is spot on what we are discussing today, is about the collaboration between Europe and US. And you can find all these reports on our website. I think also the European approach to artificial intelligence and digital technology and the green economy are very relevant. And to build this report, we also talk to entrepreneurs, to the corporates, so those that we call the makers, and to the shapers, which are the policymakers and the governmental leaders. Last but not least, we also have an office in Silicon Valley, which acts as a two-way bridge between Europe and the US. So we have activities aiming at bringing European entrepreneurs in the US with access to market programs, but we also help Americans to get to Europe. We have programs like Breathing the Horizon, for example, or the co-creation, where we help American entrepreneurs to get access to Europe, which is a very big market and a very diverse market. Probably we can say that if you make it in Europe, you can make it anywhere as an entrepreneur. So this is a nutshell what we are doing. Of course, time is very short, but you can always reach out to me by email if you want to know more about any of the programs. And also my colleague Daniel Oriel is there in presence, so you can meet him. And I'm also happy to tell you that our board member, Cristina Vicini, is also in the audience in Düsseldorf, so you can also join her in case you want to know more about what we do. Thank you very much again, and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Federico. Do we have coming? Yes, we do. Fantastic.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome.
I'm just going to try and share my screen. Let me see.
So bear with us. We have a few more minutes. I know it's hard, the beer or whatever is out there networking. 3 more interesting speakers and then we're all good. Amini, are you sharing?
I am trying to share. Opens. Okay, I think I'm going to have to go without sharing because of the Zoom. Because we don't typically use Zoom that often, and apparently it needs me to update it. Anyway, good afternoon. I'm EuropeanAISummit. I lead business development and innovation for EMEA at Amazon Web Services. I'm delighted to be part of this event today. Thank you, Thomas, for the invitation. And what I'm going to do today is I will speak briefly about going from principles to practice. So I'm actually happy to share the slides after the event. There's just 3 or 4 of them with a couple of visuals, which might be interesting. But what I wanted to talk about was going from principles to practice around responsible AI. Obviously, the topic of the moment, AI is tackling some of humanity's most challenging problems, improving customer experiences, and spurring new innovations across the board. Amazon has been developing AI and machine learning technology for more than 25 years, and the recent machine learning innovations have made the capabilities of generative AI possible, captured all of our imaginations. So with the growth of AI comes a recognition that we must all use it responsibly, and I really appreciated the couple of sessions that I was able to listen into in the last half an hour, which obviously touched on this in a very fundamental way. So what I wanted to just share today was we speak a lot about responsible AI, but what does it mean in practice? And what constitutes responsible AI is now being debated globally, and it's continuously evolving. At AWS, we define it along 6 key dimensions, and this is basically the image I wanted to share as well. The first one being bias and fairness, the second being explainability, the third being robustness, 4th, privacy and security, 5th, governance, and 6th, transparency. So while this is our definition today, we will continue to iterate as the science and the engineering of responsible AI matures. In addition, I just wanted to share a few things about how with our commitment to developing artificial intelligence and machine learning in a responsible way, how we are looking at it in terms of a few different aspects and different parts of this. So firstly, we're helping customers transform responsible AI from theory into practice. What this fundamentally means is focusing on helping customers untangle complex questions that surround dimensions such as fairness and explainability. Next, we take a holistic approach to building AI services responsibly. What this means in practice is that responsible AI becomes an integral part of the entire machine learning lifecycle, including the earliest stage of design and development, and then obviously deployment and ongoing use. Third, we take a people-centric approach that starts with education and doing our part to educate and build the next generation of developers and data scientists in AI with AI and machine learning scholarship programs and a machine learning university. This one is quite an important feeder into various other initiatives that we have to address the digital skills gap that we have here in Europe, and something that is the constant topic of discussion across many different forums and different kinds of initiatives at national and supranational levels. And fourth, we're constantly innovating and iterating with a commitment to improve, refine, and expand this approach to responsible AI. So in this context, actively participating and working with public policy makers, governments, and other kinds of institutions. There's obviously an area with research and development, money, euros and dollars being pumped into it at an incredible pace. And we're working together to advance the science behind all of this. So I just wanted to just touch on that public policy piece. What we're seeing is obviously an increasing number of regulatory proposals, laws adopted, standards in development, multilateral agreements negotiated, responsible AI specific shareholder proposals, kind of cropping up all over the place. And globally, AI specific bills number in the hundreds in 2023 alone. AWS is involved in dozens of AI standards efforts. And while this is an area of top discussion, we are making sure to collaborate with those advocating for protections and minimizing risks to society, while simultaneously encouraging AI innovation in ways that will benefit all. So I will close today by highlighting that responsibility and trust together, they drive innovation. We have great opportunities, but some very, very real risks. But having the responsibility and trust at the starting point will help us to not only unlock this innovation that is, kind of at our feet today, but more importantly, help to organizations, companies, all of our, the organizations that generate economic activity here in Europe to improve their own competitive standpoint, integrating artificial intelligence in their businesses in order to obviously be more competitive and more successful at the end of the day. So I'm happy to connect with anyone in the audience. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'm very, very keen also to see how we can continue to engage at different levels with different parts on different sides and parts of this equation to partner, basically, both from the standpoint of the science, but also from the perspective of building innovation and unlocking new business opportunities.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Samini, thank you very much. Okay, so last but not least, I guess we are competing with the sound over there. So let's crank it up here because people like to learn a little bit. So we have 3 more, and I would say the next one is actually the jewel of North Rhine-Westphalia, which is the research institution where we have a lot of, and we have a good one. So I hope that you bear with us, competing with the noise. Let's get the next people over here. We have 3 representatives of Jörg, Dankeschön. Wir sehen uns. We have KI Nordrhein-Westfalen here, Fraunhofer Institute. We have Philipp, who is calling in. He is at the DFKI, the Deutsche Forschungszentrum for Künstliche Intelligenz. And then we will start with Zahar. Zahar is the representative in San Francisco for all of the research institutions of Germany, connecting them with the ecosystem in Silicon Valley. So my apology for the noise over there, but let's give a big applause for Zahar, who is calling in from San Francisco.
Thank you very much, Thomas, and good morning from San Francisco. As a representative of the German Center for Research and Innovation, we foster partnerships between Germany and other countries in innovation and research. And today I would like to highlight one of the transatlantic partnerships that we support between the Lehigh University at NASDAQ Center in San Francisco and in North Rhine-Westphalia, the University of Dortmund, which is part of the University Alliance Ruhr. So earlier this year, we organized a symposium to deal with the question how to foster innovation through public-private partnerships. So nearly a third of students worldwide plan to be an entrepreneur within 5 years of graduation. So what is the challenge here? Entrepreneurship is often narrowly defined as setting up a new business and thus remaining accessible to a small number of people. Universities have an important opportunity to refocus entrepreneurship education as a holistic mindset or set of teachable skills. To strengthen entrepreneurship education in universities, we need to foster public-private partnerships. So such partnerships between academia, industry, and government are designed to foster long-needed innovation and entrepreneurship education globally. But what are the mutual benefits for such corporations? Public-private partnerships demonstrate why and how working between academia, industry, and government enhances multidisciplinary enterprise development. And each sector plays an important role in these organizational collaborations. For example, higher education institutions provide a culture conducive to the development of entrepreneurial talent, faculty with business science expertise, and access to mentoring and alumni networks, membership, and many other benefits. So on the other hand, companies bring practical knowledge, hands-on learning experiences to students and applied research and development opportunities. In turn, government agencies such as the DWIH here in San Francisco represent funding opportunities and act as decision makers to influence change at the systemic level. So universities play a role, a very central role here, while government agencies or corporations often lack the necessary infrastructure to bring entities together to facilitate entrepreneurship. Universities, which are tasked with enhancing higher education, research, and service to society, arguably best equipped to bring together all the key stakeholders. So why are global partnerships so important for aspiring entrepreneurs such as you? Global partnerships are key to facilitating study abroad and exchange programs that create rich pathways to teach key skills relevant to nurturing entrepreneurship, such as taking risks. So if universities are to fulfill important civic purpose of entrepreneurship, to promote economic growth and well-being, they must do so holistically. Through public-private partnerships, universities can serve all students, regardless of discipline, gender, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, or geographic location. The university's partnerships with industry and government represent the future of entrepreneurship education, and the workplace. The only question is how long will all stakeholders learn to work together successfully enough to get us there? So I invite all of you to become ambassadors for innovation through public-private partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sahar.
Thank you. Thank you, Sahar. Appreciate it. See you back home. Next up, Christian, it's all yours.
So, last one on stage. I'm absorbing the energy of the music to give you some highlights from NRW. So you were saying research, but I will combine research and sustainability and startups. So what I want to focus on is the question of AI is here to help. So basically, I truly believe that AI is here to help as a booster for sustainability. So what you can see is there is tons of different examples where AI algorithm solutions help to, for example, reduce energy consumptions in buildings. Now, there's a key challenge, and the challenge is with the advent of large language models, large AI models, you see the discussion of the vast amount of energy which are consumed. Now, what are we going to do about this? And here I would like to highlight something from NRW, which combines research and startup spirit, and this is neuromorphic hardware. So the classical hardware works like this. You have something like memory at one point and the processing units at the other point, and you need to transfer all the time the data back and forth. That costs a lot of energy. So the idea of neuromorphic hardware is, so you use some of the elements of the brain to combine memory and the processing units and save a lot amounts of energy. Now here comes North Rhine-Westphalia and the clusters for futures into play. Clusters for futures are clusters which are funded by the federal government. And in Aachen, and Holger was already on stage, there is a Neurosis cluster which are working on neuromorphic hardware, both photonic, but also on the electric side, working on software solutions, but also in the ecosystem to drive algorithms and solutions for this hardware. And why I'm saying startups. There is a startup receiving tons of awards already from Bochum, Gemesis. They are doing a tremendous job and really bringing those chips into a piloting in 2-3 months. And they're working closely here together with the Neurosis cluster. And this is what I think is one of these items where really I'm excited that we are working on this, because energy is one of the key questions for sustainable AI. And I think this is one of those solutions we can really be proud of, that we are working on this. So my personal dream is that if anybody in some years from now thinks about neuromorphic hardware, he thinks about this home state, he boards a plane, comes here, goes to a fab, and really looks into all these great ecosystem players that build this hardware. So my call to action is get involved, invest in this technology, exchange also from US into this technology, and make it happen.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Dankeschön.
I like that. I like that a lot. In Germany, we say, wir brauchen uns nicht verstecken. We have a lot to offer. Last but not least, I have Philip. He could not make it, unfortunately, last minute, but he should be online. Philip is with the DFKI, the Deutsche Forschungszentrum für Künstliche Intelligenz. Philip, are you online? You are
Yes, I
the
am.
last one in a row,
Right.
and you are competing with a party. So you go ahead.
Yeah,
But there's
just
a
turn
party
out
next door.
turn up the volume a little bit. I hope that I have some really interesting news to share here and to talk about. So my name is Philipp Sosalek. I'm a scientific director at the German Research Center for Artificial Intelligence, DFKI, actually the largest independent research center worldwide as far as we know. And I'm also a professor at Saarland University. I want to talk about trusted AI now, from going from ChatGPT to what we call ActGPT. Where ActGPT is, how can we build AI systems, large AI systems that actually work in the real world, in the physical world. The key problem here is that the physical world is extremely complex, and AI must understand this world to reliably make highly accurate decisions, because otherwise things will break. Think about autonomous driving, think about robotics, think about many other applications. And industry who wants to adopt AI, and we have many of those here in Germany, but also end users, they need a form of guarantee to be able to develop trust in AI systems. And in that sense, we're actually linking back and closing the circle to what Gerard, but also others in this session already said, how the importance of trust. And things will become dramatically more complicated with the move from ChatGPT to ActGPT, where we're moving from words to really acting in the physical world. Right? If you think about it, ChatGPT, the big thing is hallucinating text, and that's pretty bad already. But if you think about a robot hallucinating, right, that really can wreak havoc, right? That can kill people in the worst case. And that kind of makes it obvious that we need what we call trusted AI, providing solid guarantees for AI systems. That would include guarantees about the functionality, so what AI systems must or must not do, but it also includes guarantees about fairness, transparency, and many other aspects that we care about. And there are different approaches to do that. It could be by design, so we can derive these properties from the AI algorithm. So unfortunately, we don't really have a lot of that technology, but we might. There's a lot of tools that we could build that provide these guarantees for other AI systems. We could improve human insights into AI systems. So if the other doesn't work, right, we can improve the human insight and we can make better decisions. And finally, by user interaction, we see this a lot by the guardrails that are being placed on large language models through user feedback. But there is still a lot of research that needs to be done here to really come up with solid guarantees. Right? We have initial results here, but a lot more needs to be done. One of the approaches, just to give you a little bit of insight here, is what we call digital reality, where we learn models about the real world, for instance, traffic situations, about how kids are moving and behaving in this environment, so that with these models about the real world, we can simulate them, we can generate synthetic data that we use for training AI systems, but we can also use them, and even more importantly, for testing and validating AI systems, eventually leading to certifying AI systems. And we're not doing this alone. We are building a large network of these, and just as a peek view here, next month we'll actually open CERTAIN, the Center for European Research on Trusted AI. It will cover the entire value chain from basic research, applied research, with partners from also industry, from government agencies, industry associations, and others. And it will be centered in Saarbrücken, but we already have a wide network in Germany, in France, and across Europe, specifically with Claire that Holger introduced earlier. And so if you're interested in any of that, please get into contact with me, Philipp Sosalek. You're easy to find on the internet. And with that, thank you very much for listening. And thank you very much, Thomas, for this great event. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Philip.
All right. So with that, almost. I want to say in closing, thank you very much. Peter, you missed at the beginning. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. It's not, if it's up to me, this is not the last time the Transatlantic AI Exchange will be here to add hopefully some valuable information to the audience. Thanks for bearing with us until the very last moment. I know there's probably beer and, you know, a party going on, but I hope it was helpful. I hope it was informative. It was designed by definition that it was a speed dating thing, crunch of information, different opinions. My personal takeaway, it's about networking. It's about sharing. It's about helping each other. And as Europeans, as Germans, and as Nordrhein-Westfalians, wir brauchen uns nicht verstecken. There are problems in the world. There is AI. There is an opportunity. We have a lot to do, and we have a lot in front of us. With that, thank you very much. And Regina, thank you very much. All right.
Vielen Dank.